My baby daddy quit his job as an electrician where he was making over 6 figures a year to work a minimum wage job at a fast food place just so he wouldn't have to pay me $3,000 a month in child support. Is that not ridiculous? He would rather take a massive pay cut than to give me money to pay for his kids. I'm just so pissed right now because how the f*** am I going to pay for my mortgage? How am I going to pay for my mortgage? And you can tell me to go get a job, but then who's going to watch my kids? Because putting my kids in daycare is going to cost more than my freaking house. So what am I supposed to do? He's trying to act like he should only be responsible for 50% of the kids' expenses, and he doubts that they cost $6,000 a month. But I'm like, sir, I am doing 100% of the raising. I feed these kids every night. I put them to bed. I wake them up in the morning. I get them dressed. You're not doing any of that. So you should be 100% taking care of them financially. I told him when we first got together I was never going to get a job and he was going to have to take care of me, and he was okay with that. But now we're divorced and he's saying that he shouldn't be paying my bills.
Man, the dudes had no remorse for this chick, man. They just went in on her, man. Look at some of these comments. Not his mortgage, not his problem. If you end up on the streets, then he should get custody of the kids. Now you a single mom. Welcome to life. He's a smart man. Go to court, have custody changed to 50-50. Both of you get jobs, neither pay child support, split all the costs 50-50. I gotta buy this man a beer. You wouldn't put $3,000 a month into your kid. It would go to you and yourself. I love it. Good for him. Smart man. What is his number? He deserves recognition. All I heard was, my ex isn't going to support me financially and now I need to get a job. Minimum wage job plus electrical side job, cash money, genius. He is responsible for the kids, not your bills. Whatever the children need, tell them and have him buy it. He is not your provider anymore, but he is the provider of the children. Call the company he used to work for. Should be an opening. Then you wouldn't have to take your kid's money for the mortgage. Smart dude. He's not playing checkers. He's playing chess. So I want to say, when I looked at her account, I realized that this is satire. She really doesn't have kids and this story is made up. But I still posted it because it's a very realistic story. There are a lot of people who are really going through this. A lot of women, a lot of men. So when I first heard it, I didn't just look at it from the man's side. I tried to look at it from the woman's side as well. And when I did that, I did have some sympathy for what she's saying. And let me explain what I mean. To the men out there who tell their women they don't want them to work, they don't want them to go to school, they don't want them to get a job, they want them to stay home, take care of the kids, raise those kids. Then things don't work out, they get a divorce, that man leaves, and now she's stuck with those kids. She doesn't have a job or the training or the skill requirement to go out and get a good job. So now that's a tough situation he put her in. And as a logical thinking man, that's not fair. Especially if he told her to do that stuff, not to go get a job and all that stuff. I don't think that's fair. Now, if you look at it from the man's side, you're asking a man who no longer lives there, no longer has access to his children. Some new man can just move into the house and he's responsible for that mortgage and all those bills. That's not fair to him either, because now he's out working hard just to support her and whatever she wants to do. So if she takes that money to go on ski trips, if she takes that money to go shopping, he really has no control of that. So in his head, he's thinking, why make all this money just to give her all my extra money where I can just not make the extra money, don't give her anything? So with all that being said, here's where I stand on the situation. Do I think he should be taking care of her forever? No, but he should give her some time to figure it out. I don't know what that time period is. Is it months? Is it years? I don't know. But it shouldn't be forever. And I say that because when you men are out there telling these women you don't want them to work, you don't want them to do anything, you have to understand you are basically taking responsibility for that woman and her situation. If you're not allowing her to go to school, you're not allowing her to work to build her career up, and then the relationship is over with, what are you really expecting her to do? People in the comments saying she should pay 50-50. Well, like I said, she's not qualified to go out and get a good paying job. So she's going to end up doing some low wage job, which she's going to have to work a lot of hours. And like she said, 3 kids going to daycare, you know how much that's going to cost? Do you really know how much 3 kids in daycare is going to cost? Somebody's going to have to pay for that anyway. So that money that he's giving her for that period of time while she figured things out could go to daycare so she can get a job and start building up her income. Now, I will say this is why 50-50 relationships work better for most people, because if a situation like this does pop up the woman still was working, so she still has a career, she still has her own money, the man still has his career. Now, if you guys split up, that is easier to figure out because you guys were already doing it. Now you're just doing it separately. And to the men who love saying, I need my woman to stay home and just be a soft girl, you got to understand that there's some level of responsibility that comes with that. You can't just put her in that situation and then walk away with your hands in the air like nothing ever happened. I will say, if they didn't have any kids, she's on her own. Go figure it out. Go stay with your parents. Do whatever you got to do. That's a whole different scenario at that point. But if they have children, he is responsible. Those kids still need to eat. Those kids still need clothes. And if you're asking that woman to go figure out a whole new life without no college degree, no skills, no career building, that is a lot to ask from a woman, and raise kids at the same time because you're not doing the day-to-day with her. And I do think that's a problem because there are some men who just don't put enough respect on the day-to-day. If you have a woman doing the day-to-day, the at-home stuff, taking care of the kids, getting them ready for school, giving them baths, getting them ready, taking them places, doing their hair, all the stuff you do as a parent, if there's only one person doing all of that with 3 kids, that is a full-time job on its own. So I just don't think there are some men who put enough respect on that. Now, if they were splitting those duties, then I agree she should figure it out because now he's taking care of those kids just as much as she is, so he shouldn't have to pay for everything. I also want to say if a woman is in that situation and she is refusing to give up 50-50 custody to a good man, then those rules change as well. Because if the man doesn't want custody, if he doesn't want to do that stuff, that's one thing. But if he is asking for custody to do that stuff, then it falls back on the woman because he's giving you an option. He is saying, I will take that stress off you. I would do a lot of that stuff too. Again, this is only if you have a good man who is good with the kids. It can do all that stuff on his own as well. That's how I feel about it. We have to be logical as well. We can't ask the women to do one thing and then when that thing don't work out. I know a lot of men will say, well, women are always divorcing the men. I get it, but you still have to look at that situation as a whole. You can't ask this woman to take care of 3 kids. She has nothing outside of what you were doing for her and just say, go out there and figure it out. And it's not even about the woman. It is about those kids. They need a place to stay. They need clothes. They need food. And she is in a situation where she's not going to be able to do that. Like I see the people in the comments and people in real life where the mother worked 2 jobs. She did whatever she had to do to make it with those kids. So I'm not saying this is impossible. If something happens to the father, women are going to do what they got to do. I am saying if the father has a good job and he's able to take care of those kids with that good job, he quit that job to make less money because he didn't want to give her that money. That's the part I'm saying is not fair when you have 3 kids. Alimony payments to a woman with no kids, sure, I understand that. But when you got those kids, you got to think differently. It is not about you and her anymore. It's about those kids. And I just want to be clear. I am specifically talking about this situation where the man refused to let his wife work or go to school. He tells her that he has everything. He's got to take care of her. Like the woman said in the video, she told him from the start she's not planning on working. She just wants to be with the kids. If that man signs up for that, that is on him. But this is why people really need to think about the person that they're having kids with, the person that they are considering marrying. You really need to think this stuff out because things can go south. And if it goes south, are you prepared for that? This is why I believe if you want to get married, you need to talk these things out beforehand. Put it in the prenup, whatever you're going to do, but make sure both parties are very clear about what's going to happen if things don't work out. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who don't believe in prenups, which is insane to me. I have no idea why, but there are people who don't believe in it. Good luck with that. But as far as I'm concerned, if you guys sit down, talk about what you guys are expecting, if this happens, this is how we'll handle it. If this happens, this is what we will do.
You got yourself a goddamn deal.
I think that's better. This way, nobody is surprised if the situation happens. If a man disagrees with this, that's okay. But those same men have to understand why there are some women out there who will always want to work. They will never want to be in a situation where a man is 100% taking care of them because they're worried about stuff like this. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.